I got to tell you something. The eye test on Logan Thompson, I know, Millard, you get to see him all the time, and you understand it. Like, I've only seen highlights of him. To watch him live this year like that, I was like, this kid's legit, man. Like, he's a legit, confident goaltender. And I know it's just the first part of the season, but I'm thrilled for the Vegas Golden Knights because they had a whole conundrum with Leonard not coming back, and you can make an argument they're better with Logan Thompson than that they were with Robin Leonard, at least from my eyes. And so, Shanny, a long way of saying I like the team, well prepared. They're going to be, I think, especially in that division, they're going to be tough to knock off the perch there. And I'm telling you, the structure that Butch is going to bring to this team when they really get it down will make it difficult for opponents out there to get second and third opportunities against them.
Millard, you're a target. You see Vegas every night. What's your take on Thompson?
He's a goalie, and when I say he's a goalie, I think he's a bit of a flashback to some of the guys that have just gone through that generation, like Belfour, a goaltender with personality, like a Patrick Waugh. Along that, he's as confident of an athlete as I've come across in a long time for somebody that doesn't have an extensive track record. And I think he's the perfect goaltender for this organization. Last year coming in, had a bit of house money, but made it work and got them into the second last game of the season with an opportunity to make the playoffs. And he didn't give an inch on that confidence coming into this year. His swagger is Bob McCowan-ish. It's really impressive.
Oh my God.
And yes, I'm not overstating that. And he loves the shootout, which is also a big plus for him. Like, he loves these moments. The other night in Pittsburgh, they ended up losing the game. They lost it on a penalty that he took, but he flattened Jake Gensel in the crease and didn't care. It's like, this is my spot. This is what I'm going to do. Like, he just got this air about him that is really impressive. That is the perfect. Sometimes that can rub people the wrong way, but it works. And I'll just point out, there's three more people in this game for Vegas. Bruce Cassidy wasn't with the team last year. Paul Cotter was in the minors last year. And Logan Thompson was just getting a look at this point last year. Those are three really important players on that team or coach who are new to the organization. That's how much of a step or transition the team has taken.
You missed the Iron Man too. You have to talk about the Iron Man.
Yeah,
it wasn't there last year. Hey, about Thompson though, Daren, to me, more than any other right-handed catching goalie, it's more accentuated with him. I don't know why I see it. Maybe I'm just looking for it all the time, but there's not very many right-handed catching goalies out there. But he seems to really use it to his own effectiveness, doesn't he?
Well, there's more. A couple of years ago, there's 3 in the league. Now we've got a solid bushel of right-handed goaltenders. No, he does use it to his advantage, and he's very active. You guys, if you watched the game, the listeners and the viewers, you saw his activeness in the crease. He has really, really good hands, to the point where I don't think I've seen a goaltender make windmill saves with the blocker before. But he does. Like, he's really active with that. Billy Jaffe, weren't you a goaltender at Michigan one time? Wasn't that the story?
Per Doug McLean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, per Doug. And I was an outstanding goalie, so good, in fact, that, I landed.
They made you a defenseman.
Yes. Thank you, Doug, for that.
That Red Berenson's smarter than he thinks.
Oh my God, yes. He found a great place for me on the bench regularly. It was sit here, jackass. One thing that I do want to say about Logan Thompson, and I went old school in the pregame, we were talking about him a little bit, and I said, look, I know he's a lefty compared to this guy, but at 6'4", and you watch him in warmups, he hunches over a lot. Like, he almost attacks you.
Well, he has to.
I know, but he almost reminded me, and hear me out on this, of a left-handed catching Mike Liute. Remember how Mike used to get way down and almost scare the bejesus out, like, especially with that mask on, and he'd look right like that. But Mike looked so big because he was big at the time at 6'4" and everything. But I thought Logan reminded me of that. I loved it. I appreciated watching him last night. I did. It was a lot of fun.
The best part of Logan's game isn't technique, isn't size, isn't attitude. He doesn't let in bad goals. The stats, and there's all these fancy goaltending stats nowadays. He saves all the shots that he is supposed to and then builds on that. And they still have some structure and things that they have to tidy up. But that's the most impressive part. Pucks that shouldn't go in, don't go in.
How come we don't hear enough? And maybe we do, you do in Vegas. How come we don't hear enough about him being the #1 rookie of the year candidate? Because he is.
It's out there. Matty Beniers and Logan Thompson are the two guys right now. And we talked about it on our show yesterday, the pregame show, just to match Billy Jaffe talking about it on his show. We brought up the fact that this is a high-profile game against the Boston Bruins last night, and with the win streak on the line and people paying attention to it, and that there would be highlights shown all over. If Logan Thompson could win that game, it would just build him up another level or two in this Calder conversation. And by going to the shootout, it did maybe 4 or 5 notches.
Let me ask you guys this, Millard, maybe right to you, but because of his activeness, and he is active, right?
Yeah.
Is this like a pitcher, though? Is there any worry, I would ask, of like a pitcher going through the league the first full time, and he's 8-1 that first half of the season, and the second half of the year? I know he played a bit last year, but this is different as the #1 this year. This is different. Is there any worry per se, for you being a goalie, Daren Elliott? I don't know if you guys have talked about this or not in Vegas, being a former goalie, that he could get exposed, given how he does have a lot of movement in his game.
Yeah, we've discussed it because he was really, really active when he came up, and they quieted his game down considerably. And some of that was probably nerves last year, but he settled his game down. I think what he is what he is now. Sean Burke may want to tidy it up a touch, but I think there's less activity there than appears because of what's going on around the hands and stuff like that. I think he's pretty structurally sound now, and he certainly has taken steps compared to when he first came up.
Actually,
I'll tell you something we've never discussed.
Hold on, Bob. Let me just you mentioned another name that wasn't there last year.
Sean Burke
is going to make a huge impact. I think that this guy does not get very much credit, enough credit, for the amount of goaltenders he has touched in this league over the years, all the way back to the Mike Smiths and the Devin Dubnyks and everyone who has come in contact with Sean Burke's philosophy of goaltending. They become better goaltenders.
He's a goalie whisperer.
That's another huge addition.
Yeah, goalie whisperer. And I watch him, and he's got a really unique style to the way he works. He's not one of those drill sergeants out there pounding his goaltenders in the ice. He does the work, but a lot of it is just talking. A ton of video with Sean Burke, and Devin Dubnyk might be the greatest turnaround in hockey history. What he did, because Dubnyk was done, and he ended up playing like 40 straight games that year when he went over to Minnesota.